A lot of people rely on thirst alone, and they assume if I need water, my body will tell me. But the reality is thirst is actually a late signal. By the time you feel thirsty, your body's already playing catch up. Most people think of hydration as something simple. Just drink more water. But what if being even slightly dehydrated was affecting your brain, your focus, your memory, your mood, your energy? Because the truth is your brain is about 75% water. And even small changes in hydration will have a measurable impact on how it functions. So today, we're going to break down how hydration affects your brain, why so many people are unknowingly dehydrated, and what you can do simply to fix it. Hydration isn't just about thirst. It's not just about preventing dehydration. It's about optimizing how your brain and your body function, because water plays a role in all of that. Blood flow to the brain, neurotransmitter production, detoxification, temperature regulation, energy production. So when you're underhydrated, even slightly, your brain has to work harder. So what's surprising is it doesn't take much. Even a 1% to 2% drop in hydration can lead to reduced concentration, to brain fog, fatigue, headaches, mood changes, because water is involved in almost every major process in the body. It helps regulate blood flow to the brain, which means it directly impacts how much oxygen and nutrients your brain is receiving. It plays a role in neurotransmitter production, so it affects things like mood and focus, mental clarity, and it also supports detoxification. And staying hydrated helps your body clear out metabolic waste and metabolic byproducts. It regulates your body temperature, which is critical for maintaining energy and performance and is essential for energy production at the cellular level. So when you're well hydrated, everything runs more efficiently. But when you're underhydrated, even slightly, your body has to compensate. Blood flow can become less efficient. Cellular processes slow down. Your brain has to work harder just to maintain the same level of function. And that's when you start to feel it. A little more foggy, a little more fatigue, a little less sharp than usual. And often people don't connect that back to hydration. They think it's stress or sleep or just a busy day, but hydration is a foundational input. And when that foundation is off, well, everything else becomes harder. This episode is brought to you by Function Health, empowering you to live 100 healthy years with over 160 lab tests for just $365 a year. And use the code MARK2026 to get $50 off your membership. So why are so many people walking around underhydrated? It's usually not intentional. It's just a combination of habits that over time add up. A lot of people rely on thirst alone, and they assume if I need water, my body will tell me. But the reality is thirst is actually a late signal. By the time you feel thirsty, your body's already playing catch up. Another big factor is what people are drinking instead of water. If your day is built around coffee, well, maybe another cup mid-morning, something in the afternoon. You're not just missing water, you may be actually increasing fluid loss at the same time. And then there's electrolytes. Hydration isn't just about water, it's about balance. So if you're not getting enough minerals like sodium, potassium, magnesium, your body has a harder time actually holding on and using the water you drink. So you can be drinking fluids and still not be optimally hydrated. And then there's diet. Highly processed foods tend to be low in water and low in nutrients, which means they don't contribute to hydration the way whole foods do. Compare that to a diet rich in vegetables, fruits, and whole foods, which naturally provide both water and electrolytes. So when you're putting all this together, relying on thirst, high caffeine intake, low electrolytes, processed food, well, it creates a situation where you're consistently a little behind. Not severely dehydrated, but just underhydrated enough to affect how you feel, your energy, your focus, your clarity. So if you're only drinking when you feel thirsty, there's a good chance you're underhydrated most of the time. And that's why hydration has to be a little more intentional than most people think. Now, another big factor in hydration is caffeine. Caffeine isn't the enemy, but it can contribute to dehydration if you're not balancing it. If your day looks like a cup of coffee in the morning, another cup mid-morning, maybe something in the afternoon without enough water, well, you're creating a deficit. And caffeine has a mild diuretic effect, meaning it increases fluid loss in the urine, especially when you're consuming it in higher amounts or when your body isn't well hydrated to begin with. And more importantly, it masks fatigue. So instead of recognizing that your body needs water or rest or nourishment, you reach for another cup of coffee, and that can create a cycle. So start your day with coffee, fine. Maybe before you had any water, not so good. And then you have another cup mid-morning. Well, maybe the last one in the afternoon to push the energy dip. But if you're not consistently hydrating along with that, you're slowly creating a deficit. And the tricky part is you might not obviously feel dehydrated. You might just feel a little off. You might feel a little more foggy or tired or more dependent on caffeine to get through the day. So it becomes a loop. Less hydration, more fatigue, more caffeine, less awareness of the underlying issue. And that's why hydration has to be intentional. It can't just be an afterthought. If you're drinking coffee, you also need to be constantly bringing in water throughout the day just to balance it out. Because the goal isn't to eliminate caffeine. It's to use it in a way that actually supports your energy instead of quietly working against you. Now, when your brain is properly hydrated, you'll often notice better focus, clearer thinking, more stable energy, better mood, because hydration supports blood flow to the brain. It supports delivery of oxygen and nutrients, efficient neural signaling. It's one of the simplest ways to improve how your brain performs without adding anything new. One of the easiest and most impactful shifts you can make is simply starting your day with water. Because after a full night's sleep, your body's naturally dehydrated. You've got 6, 7, maybe 8 hours without any fluid intake. And during that time, you're still losing water through breathing and metabolic processing. So when you wake up, you're already starting from a deficit. And if the first thing you do is reach for coffee, you're not actually rehydrating. You're layering on stimulation on top of dehydration. And that's why hydrating first thing is so important. It helps replenish fluids. It supports circulation, essentially tells your body we're starting the day in a supported state. Even just a glass or two of water can make a huge difference. Some people also benefit from adding a pinch of salt or a squeeze of lemon. I use electrolytes. This can help absorption and intracellular hydration, which provides a small electrolyte boost. What's interesting is this one small habit often changes how people feel within a few days. They get more energy, they have clear thinking, less of that early morning brain fog. Because instead of playing catch up all day, you're starting ahead. So before coffee, before food, start with water. It's a small shift, but it sets the tone for everything that follows. In today's connected world, we have never been more obsessed with tracking our fitness. The watch that tracks your heart rate, the ring that scores your sleep, the device that estimates your VO2 max, and yet people are still hitting plateaus they cannot explain. Recovery that takes longer than it should, energy that doesn't match the effort you're putting in, and a body that looks fit on the outside and feels depleted underneath. And here's why. Every device on your wrist is measuring outputs, what your body did, how it performed, how it responded. None of them can tell you what's going on inside your body, and that's the missing piece. Take hemoglobin, for example. It carries oxygen to your muscles, and if it's low, your endurance has a ceiling. No training program overrides that ceiling. And ferritin determines whether your body can even produce enough hemoglobin in the first place. These are not fitness metrics. This is biology. The most disciplined athletes I've worked with didn't improve by pushing harder. They improved by finally understanding what their body was working with. Go to functionhealth.com/Mark. And if you're one of the first 1,000 people this week, use the code MARK2026 for a $50 credit toward your $365 a year membership. That's functionhealth.com/Mark and use the code MARK2026 today. Hydration isn't just about water. It's about balance. Electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, they help your body absorb the water, maintain fluid balance. They support nerve and muscle function. So if you're drinking a lot of water, but still feeling fatigued, foggy, or just a little off, well, you actually may be missing electrolytes. Now, this doesn't have to be complicated. You can get electrolytes from mineral-rich whole foods. You can add a pinch of high-quality salt to your water or use targeted electrolyte support. But if you're using an electrolyte product, it's worth paying attention to what's actually in it, because not all electrolyte drinks are created equal. And a few things to look for. Well, first, watch the sugar content. A lot of popular electrolyte drinks are essentially sports drinks loaded with sugar. And while those might be useful in very specific situations like a marathon or something, for everyday hydration, they can actually do more harm than good. Second, look for meaningful amounts of key minerals, sodium, potassium, and ideally magnesium. Some products are marketed as electrolytes, but they only have a little bit of these things and won't make much of a difference. Third, check the ingredient list. You want to avoid artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, unnecessary additives. The simpler, the better. And finally, pay attention to how you feel. The goal isn't just to follow a label, it's to support your body. And when you're properly hydrated with the right balance, you're going to notice a lot. You're going to feel better, more energy, more stable focus, fewer headaches. So again, hydration isn't just about drinking more. It's about giving your body what it actually needs to use that water effectively. Next step is to eat your water. Another really overlooked piece of hydration is that you could actually hydrate through your food. Many animals do that. They don't drink water. They just have food that has water in it. And in many ways, this is one of the most effective forms of hydration because whole foods, especially fruits and veggies, they don't just contain water, they contain structured water along with fiber, vitamins, minerals that help your body actually absorb and use that fluid more efficiently. So it's not just about how much water you're getting, it's about how well your body can utilize it. Foods like cucumbers, melons, leafy greens, berries, citrus fruits, they're all naturally high in water content. But they also come with electrolytes and phytonutrients, and that support hydration at a cellular level, which means when you eat them, you're not just adding fluids, you're supporting your body's ability to stay hydrated. And there's another benefit here. These foods also support your gut health. They provide fiber that actually feeds the good bacteria, and a healthier gut improves how your body regulates fluids and absorbs nutrients. So hydration through food is doing multiple things at once, supporting hydration, reducing inflammation, improves your overall metabolic function. And this is one of the reasons why people who shift toward a whole foods diet often notice better energy, clear skin, more stable focus, even if they're not dramatically increasing how much water they drink, because they're changing the quality of their hydration. So instead of thinking about hydration just as what you drink, start to think about it as something you eat as well. Because when you combine both, well, that's when you really start to optimize how your body functions. Next step is to drink consistently. Hydration works best when it's consistent, not all at once. Drinking a large amount of water at the end of the day won't make up for underhydrating earlier because your body can only absorb and utilize so much at a time. So instead, think about spacing it out. Small, steady intake throughout the day supports stable energy, better focus, and overall brain function. Now, one of the most common questions people have is, how much water should I actually be drinking? Well, the answer is, it depends. There's no one-size-fits-all number. Your needs are going to vary based on lots of things, your body size, your activity level, your environment, even your diet. But a simple starting point for many people is around half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, that's roughly 75 ounces as baseline. From there, you adjust. If you're exercising, sweating more in a hot environment, maybe you need more. If you're eating a lot of whole water-rich foods, you may need slightly less from fluids. But instead of obsessing about a perfect number, it's more helpful to combine a general guideline with awareness. And that brings us to step 5. Pay attention to the signals. Your body gives you feedback. One of the most helpful things you can do when it comes to hydration is simply start paying attention to your body, because your body is constantly giving you feedback. And the challenge is most of us kind of learn to ignore it, or we don't realize what those signals actually mean. So pay attention to your energy, your focus, your thirst, your urine color. These are all feedback signals. And then build a rhythm around your day. Hydrating in the morning, for example, having water between meals, sipping throughout the afternoon, so you're not trying to catch up later. Because when hydration becomes consistent, it's effortless. And that's when you start to feel the difference. Now, these are all clues. If you're experiencing afternoon fatigue, brain fog, having a hard time focusing, you get headaches, hydration could be playing a role. Now, it's not always extreme. You don't have to be severely dehydrated to feel the effects of dehydration. Even mild dehydration can show up in lots of subtle ways. So instead of guessing or waiting until you feel thirsty, start noticing patterns. When you drink more water, how do you feel? When you don't, what changes? Because the goal here is to become more in tune with your body, not to follow a rigid rule. And once you start paying attention, well, hydration becomes much more intuitive. So bringing this all together, a lot of people think hydration is simple, just drink more water, but there are a few common mistakes that can actually keep you from feeling your best. 1 is only drinking when you're thirsty. 2 is relying heavily on caffeine. 3 is ignoring electrolytes. 4 is overhydrating without enough minerals, because hydration isn't just about volume, it's about balance. And once you understand that, everything starts to shift. Because hydration isn't just about drinking water. It's about supporting your brain and your body at a foundational level. This is one of the easiest things to improve. You don't need anything complicated. If you want to start today, keep it simple. Drink water first thing in the morning, stay consistent throughout the day, include electrolytes when needed, eat whole water-rich foods. You don't have to overthink it. Just a few intentional changes can make a noticeable difference in your energy, your focus, and your clarity. Because at the end of the day, you don't need a new supplement or a complicated routine to start feeling better. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as hydration. And when your brain has what it needs, everything works better. Your focus, your energy, your clarity. So don't overlook the basics, because often that's where the biggest changes happen. What if brain fog, anxiety, and mood swings aren't simply all in your head? What if the health of your mind actually starts deeper in your body, in your gut, in your hormones, metabolism, and your immune system? Well, let me tell you, the connection is real, and it affects how you think and you feel every single day. And that's why I created Brain Shaping Academy, a 6-week program that shows you how healing your body can help you heal your mind. Brain Shaping Academy relies on the same targeted nutrition and lifestyle strategies that I've used for 30 years to help my patients improve their mental, emotional, and cognitive health. So if you want to feel calmer, clearer, and more in control and stay sharp and protect your brain as you age, check out Brain Shaping Academy at drhyman.com/brain shaping. That's drhyman.com/brain shaping.